Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to this next part of this webinar series which we were running into. And last week we had a webinar with Mr. Patrick from Zahadid Architects. And following that, today we have a very inspiring person. I will just give a very small introduction about Sir. Sir, today we are going to do this webinar with architect Kamalhassan Sir. So to know about him, he basically did his bachelor's of architecture in Madras University in 1998. So he finished in 1998, and then he did his internship with the International Committee on Monuments and Sites. So it's called as the ICOMOS in USA in 2001. That is the next achievement. And after that, his Master of Arts, which is MA, was done at the International Architecture Regeneration and Development, Oxford Brookes University in UK in 2016. So that is how Sir's qualification has been there, and it's very vast. It also involves two different countries and his experience, and also a few add-ups to Kamal Hassan Sir's achievements. He received the first prize at national level for his works in Chettinad from HUDCO, Housing and Urban Development Corporation, in the Government of India category Conservation of Heritage in 2014. That was a big achievement. And he was featured as Personality of the Week for the work on heritage conservation in Metro Plus, supplemented by the Hindu, leading national newspaper, which we have, on the 28th of 2009, November. And next, he got featured in the cover story of the Telegraph magazine, yes, titled Remaking History on the 25th of March 2013. So I'm just telling it in descending order. Then he was selected for the Chevening Scholarship awarded by Foreign and Commonwealth, Office of the UK government for higher studies in UK. So that is how he was selected, particularly with a scholarship, and he did his higher studies in UK. And very particular in this particular masters, his strategy plan for Evora, a World Heritage City in Portugal, was selected as a Santander project grant and was presented in the city council officials for real-time implementation. So basically, his work was actually presented to the authorities or the council of Portugal itself. Last, he was a part of the committee and designed the massive Yagna Shala for the Kumbhabhishekam of Big Temple, Tanjavur, which we have as a UNESCO site and a living heritage site. So these are all some of the most very important and regarded achievements of Kamal Hassan Sir. We have a lot of architects. We have a lot of architects who go into a lot of futurism, modernism, and things like that. But his importance is basically on how we can conserve our heritage, and that is the whole topic which he wants us to listen today. It's going to be very interesting. Thanks for all the 82 attendees who are here on time. I really appreciate for that. And one small request to all the attendees: please keep your audio on mute so we can hear Sir talk very clearly. Later, when we enter the question and answer session, you can type your questions in the question and answer segment, which is down below. Thank you. I think I will just give the screen to Sir for him to start the presentation. Kamal Hassan Sir, please.
Thank you, Rupesh.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm quite excited because you said some big names, Patrick Shoemaker and all that. So like, I'm surprised that your college alumni have managed to get in real star architects.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's really nice. It will be very good for the students to get motivated and all.
True, sir. True.
So that's good. And good. So this is going to be a totally different direction. It will all be about history and heritage, which I feel should not be delinked from the regular architecture. No, this is not something very different and all. It is just that it is a different kind of. It is a one kind of architecture. That's all.
Yes, sir.
So we should not exclude it like it is only for somebody interested in history or something like that. It is for everybody. Heritage is for everyone. It is a shared concern, and we all have to make our collective efforts to preserve that. That's how I see it.
Right,
And
right.
we should just try to establish a continuity between the past and the present. That's all is about heritage. Okay.
True, sir.
So I have presentation which I would like to share with you. So I made it like a PowerPoint presentation, just 30 slides, because
Good, sir. Good, sir.
I don't know how much the students will be, sort of, I don't know how far I can hold the students nowadays. I can't hold even my son and daughter more than 5 minutes. They go to their mobile phones next.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I will try to do my best. I have
sir,
a presentation. Okay?
Yeah, sure. Sure. Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to now share the screen.
Yes, sir.
Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, sir. 1 second. It is just getting online. Yeah. Now I think we have the screen on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'll make it full screen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay. All right. So, friends, first, I have given the quote of a well-known architect. All of us know Frank Lloyd Wright. He's, right from the first year we study his works. So he is given this famous quote that without an architecture of our own, we have no soul of our own civilization. So that is the importance associated with architecture, because it is a very, very tangible heritage. It's a very physical manifestation of art and culture of a place. If the pyramids of Giza were not there, nobody would be talking about Egyptian civilization. So, after so many years, after 5,000 years, So that is the proof that a very great civilization existed, So that is the importance of this tangible heritage. So as far as India is concerned, if we take the classified heritage, which means those structures which have been listed, which have been documented, which have been numbered, which are protected legally through court orders and through certain acts and amendments, So this is the classified heritage released very recently by the government of India. So we have about 3,691. ASI is Archaeological Survey of India. We have so many protected monuments. We have 1,800 archaeological sites. We have 50 historic cities. We have 6,000 plus state archaeology sites. We have 400,000 religious heritage sites. We have 38 world heritage sites, recognized by the UNESCO. But that is not all that India has. These are the unclassified heritage, because when you say classified heritage, those will be very big monuments like Mamallapuram, Tanjore Big Temple, Qutub Minar and all. But there are hundreds and thousands and lakhs of unclassified heritage buildings, old buildings. All of you would have seen, in next to your street, there may be an old building. So when we say heritage buildings, what is the definition? What is the criteria that defines heritage building? It's very simple. Generally, the definition is taken like this: the buildings built before RCC, before reinforced cement concrete. That is probably in India, it should be before 1930s, 1940s. Okay. So because at that time, those buildings were built with local materials and with local artisans and craftsmen. That is why they reflect the heritage of that particular place. Therefore, they are heritage buildings. That's all. So that is the simple definition for heritage buildings. In that, with that definition, if you see, we can see hundreds and thousands of heritage buildings all around, which we are losing now because of the development pressure, which I will come. So these are all buildings only in Chettinad. This slide is all the buildings in Chettinad. So now, what are the, sort of, I just wanted to give the reflections. What do these structures indicate? When you take large scale projects like Rameshwaram, where the corridor itself is 1.4 kilometers, and the massive Senji fort, where the fort circuit is 5 miles of fortification, and then the very big Madurai temple, Tanjore big temple, all these things. So to do these kind of mega projects, our people should have been very knowledgeable with project management, resource planning, dedication, and somebody should have patronized all these projects with a lot of money, which means economic flourishing also was there. So these are all the learnings, reflections from the big projects. When you take a give your attention to small details like that small elephant there, and the details in this temple here, these things indicate the craftsmanship, the attention for detail, the beauty, somebody who didn't compromise on anything, who wanted to give all his best, who did not calculate for money or for square feet, for his recognition or for bonus or incentive. He or she, they did purely because of the love of architecture and art. That is why these buildings are still, we are appreciating them. Now you see this sculpture. This is in Thirumayam, in Shiva temple in Thirumayam. You look at that sculpture, such beauty, and it is on a column. It is not resting on the ground. Then you see the handbag. It is done with the cane. So all those things are reflected, and it has a small frill. And look at the dress, the ornaments, and there is a parrot on her right shoulder. This should be about 17th, 16th century or so, a Nayak sculpture. And it gives us a glimpse of how the lifestyle was then, And this is a stone sculpture, and the right side is a bronze sculpture of Natraj. And look at the beauty. With stone, how much details they have shown, with bronze, with metal, how much. And in this, if you see these two holes at the bottom, they have a story. The bronze sculptures were done by making negative and positive molds, So they used to do a wax mold. On top of that, they will have mud. On top of that, they will pour the molten bronze. And they will solidify, they will cool the bronze. When the bronze cools, the metal cools, we get the form of the Natraj. And they will heat the metal again, the wax will melt and come down. It's a synchronized process actually. So those holes are meant for the wax to come out from the hollow. So that is how, this is the technique they use. And from this sculpture, we understand still in Swamimalai people are making that. And the next image shows a lot of inscription. This is in big temple. And from this inscription, we understand a lot of historic facts, So what was the name of the king, the regnal year of the king, how much land was donated for the temple, what all assets the temple possessed. And even the details of the sculptor, the Stapati who built the temple and all is there in these inscriptions. Now, if we lose these things, then we lose a great part of our history. That is why we should preserve them. Few more examples. Look at these. This slide is only for the woodwork, only for carpentry. So basically, our Indian architecture was timber architecture. All the stone details are reflections of timber architecture. Because they were temples, they were for God, it was built with stone. All the residences were built with wood. That is why we lost most of the domestic architecture. But the temples have remained. So here the chariot, the entrance door, the columns and the verandas, all these are Burma teak, and they have very good knowledge system. For example, all of these will not be Burma teak. Only for horizontal members, they will use Burma teak. For vertical members, they will use neem trees. In the case of railway sleepers, they use something called palamaram. In the case of chariots, they use a different wood, and they used to identify the right wood and work with it. So in Tamil Nadu, these were Asaris, and in Kerala, they are called Tachans, and there are Perundachan, who means the head carpenter, like that. They had a very organized community who were hereditarily trained, and they could do all these buildings. They were not B.Arch, M.Arch, they did not go to Oxford Brookes University, okay, they did not get scholarship. They were all trained by their father, grandfather, and they did all these things out of their love of their profession. So, and look at this flooring. So today we have plenty of flooring, you know, vitrified tiles, ceramic tiles, glazed tiles and all. So these are very simple red oxide flooring, mosaic flooring, marble and granite inlay, lime cement flooring. And this first image is flooring done with waste chips. You know, when you do a big building, you end up with a lot of wastage. All those wasted pieces are put together and a pattern is created in the flooring. And if you see the bottommost image, you can see your reflection on the mosaic floor. This is in Chettinad. So look at the perfection. And you see the plaster work. So we have heard about the egg plaster and all, the very smooth finish, you know. You don't have to do a putty and you don't have to do a painting, because the plastering itself is so perfect. That is the finish. It gives bonding strength for the brickwork. At the same time, it gives a finished surface. It is multi-purpose. It is not just beauty. It really serves a dual purpose. It gives strength for the brickwork, and then it gives a very good finish. But now we don't do like that. Now we do brickwork, we do plastering, and just to beautify only we are applying putty and painting. Whereas these lime plaster all, they are part of the structure as well as the aesthetics. So you see the exterior plastering also. This building should be about 80 or 90 years old, and there is not a single crack. Whereas in the new buildings that we are building now, we face a lot of quality issues. So if you see the tile laying, generally, there are a lot of sort of misgivings from us. You know, tile house means, I mean, as architects, we appreciate, but the clients will think, you know, sir, vote vidala vena sir. Whereas that same client, he will go and stay in Kumarakom, in Taj Hotel, in tiled house, tiled cottages for giving 10,000 or 15,000 per night. Okay, because that is touristic heritage or whatever. That is a promoted heritage. That is a packaged heritage. Whereas these houses they are real tiled houses. And people feel, sir, idella romba kashtamar sir, RCC maathanu sir. So this is also connected with the mindset of the people. You know, we don't seem to appreciate our own culture. It is simple. Now I am talking in English because I think there will be Keralites, people will be there, Andhra people, and
Yes.
North Indians will be there. So otherwise I would have preferred to talk in Tamil. Many of the times we are a little shy to talk in our mother tongue itself, because we feel speaking in English only gives us more value. Like similarly in architecture also, simple structures, simple tile roof, simple veranda, red oxide flooring and all, people think they are cheap. So they don't want to use those things, you know. So these kind of stigma we should try to break. And you see these tiles, because nobody is using, nobody is manufacturing these tiles. And even in Kerala, it was called Mangalore tile. This right side, this is country tiles. The right side is Mangalore tiles. So even in Mangalore now, the production is getting really reduced because there are not takers. And but this tile laying was an art. Tile laying is a very difficult art. You know, you have to lay it to alignment, and there were very skilled artisans who used to do that. And you see these end ornament elements. These are all just to give you a touch of finish to the building, you know, just to say that we have completed the building, you know. in a nice way. So that is how this is all terracotta. And on the right side, if you see this elephant, that's a very interesting. You see from both sides, you will see the same figure. See, it has one trunk, two faces. If you see that elephant, so there is that gable roof has a very complicated slope. So they have tried to close that slope, the termination, with this elephant head. And if you see the other fretwork, this eaves board and this copper sunshade, and the termination of the tile roof. So that, see, this termination is the tile will also not fall down. Monkeys will come, peacock will come, so the tile may fall out. To protect the tile and also to give a nice finish. So now where are we? What is happening? So we have three losses, you know. The first loss is the loss of identity. Okay. Chettinad also is like Chennai. Tanjavur is also like Chennai. Tirunelveli is also like Chennai. Pondicherry is also like Chennai. Every place is like Chennai. Then if all the places have similar, you know, concrete buildings and apartments and sort of the same language, you know, box type of buildings, then where is the question of identity? Why people go to, you know, different places? Because they want to enjoy the uniqueness of that place, right? We go to, if you go to Paris, it's beautiful. Street after street of well-restored buildings, and they're very proud about their culture. They have very strict laws, and a lot of tourists come. See, Spain and Portugal are surviving today because of the tourism based on their architecture and heritage and all those things. 15% of their GDP is on tourism. So, and as long as we have an identity, we will have that respect. If we don't have that identity, if we are very normal, if we don't have something special, something unique, you know, so you all do, no? You want to cover a girl or a boy, you make yourself special, right? Then only you will be able to attract, no?
Yes,
So similar way, you know, we also have to keep our culture, you know, very unique, keep the uniqueness of our culture, you know, so that we can attract more attention. The second loss is the knowledge. If we don't use something, we will lose. So if we don't use all these traditional techniques and at least try to preserve, try to add value to it, if we don't do these things, slowly they will go away. And you see this paper, that drawing, all those are technical terms in Tamil. And a French scholar called Jouveau Dubroy, he visited Kadalur. He visited a live site, a temple site. This, I'm telling, this should be about 100 years back, okay, in 1920s or so. So he visited, and when he visited, he found that Stapati was having all these things in his palm leaf manuscripts. இதெல்லாம் ஓலைச்சுவடியில இருக்கு. So அந்த ஓலைச்சுவடியில இருந்து இவர் வந்து எடுத்து புக்கா இவர் பப்ளிஷ் பண்ணார். Now we don't learn all these things in BR and Denmark. We learn more of Roman order, Doric order, Ionic order, and we study about all international styles and all those things. But in the back of our, you know, house, we have all these beautiful, you know, terms, terminologies, complicated proportions, calculations, you know, how to divide layout, how to divide the horizontal, make a composition, all this proportion, scale, everything is very elaborately given, and there are a lot of text on this. Mayamada is there, Vaisambhayanam, so various books and texts have been written by old scholars, you know, on this. All these things we are not taught, first of all, because our education system is completely westernized. So we are only following the prescribed books of Bannister, Fletcher, Bernard Fielden, or these, you know, their books, and we get to, you know, sort of miss these things, and I came to know because I worked on a temple. That's why I came to know all these things. So the resources also we lose the skill, uh, because the Chettinad plaster, there was only one elderly person called Ponea Messi who could do, and he is now 95 years old. His son is not interested to do, so we have lost that skill. It is very difficult now to do Chettinad plaster. And materials, and for this fine lime plaster, we used to get seashell lime from the shores of Rameshwaram. Because we are not doing any more seashell lime, nobody is mining the seashell, nobody is preparing those materials. So if we want to restore with lime, seashell lime, we are not getting the materials. That is the difficulty we are facing now. And economy. See, if a building can live for 100 years, we should keep it for 100 years. But if we lose it in 50 years and we build a new building for 1 crore or 2 crore, we are draining our economy.
Okay.
You see, because we are not making full utilization of the building's value. In fact, if we preserve well, the heritage buildings can last for many more years, and that money we can invest on business and other things,
Yes, sir.
So now, further loss, what is happening? If you see this press cutting, the rise and fall of Erenial Palace, this project, this palace is very unique because that is the only mud palace in south of India.
Okay.
It is the only mud palace, and that has collapsed. And some efforts are being made to restore, but nothing is happening, unfortunately. And on the right side, you see 92 ASI protected monuments are missing. See, if you say small buildings, heritage buildings are lost, we understand. But if monuments are missing, where will you complain? 92 monuments are missing. So these are all the big loss that we are facing now. And you see these, the left side is a French colonial building in Pondicherry. In 2006, it was in good condition. In 2014, it collapsed because of poor maintenance.
Okay.
And if you ask me that, sir, British building, French building, colonial building, we give the same attention to our own buildings also. This right side is in Chettinad.
Okay, sir.
Aduvum poichu. So
okay, that whole building is gone, sir. That Chettinad.
Chettinad, if you see very closely, the left side building is gone. The right side building is hidden in the trees.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay, sir.
Seriya.
Okay.
So
okay.
if you go after 10 years, that also will be gone. Because nobody is taking care of it. Okay. So this is in Chennai. This is a beautiful British building, very similar to Egmore because it was done by the same architect. But you see the additions done by the PWD. There is no respect for the heritage. It's all like jammed with the old and new has been jammed, and we are not able to see the heritage building itself. And then the metro rail is happening in the middle. So that is also causing a lot of damage to the neighboring buildings, Now you see this image. This is an image which conveys the message very powerfully. See, it's a beautiful sculpture. And look at how a wall has been jammed into this. So why? Simple. There is no appreciation for art, that's all. It has nothing to do with money or education or anything. We should not blame anything here. It is simply because somebody is not taken the trouble to be little more careful, little more appreciative of the art and then do something, So, and this is an addition inside a temple. And you see at the end of this corridor, you see beautiful pillars opening up, that is the starting point of the mandapam. And this structure, you look at the structure, this is like some sandy or some or sandai or commercial complex or industrial shed they have put inside the temple. So these are all the difficulties that we are facing now. So now, about 50 years back, the entrance steps were like this. They had nice elephant trunks, a small ramp for the vehicle, the cycle to go up, and for the steps. After that, it was simplified. Elephant trunk எல்லாம் பண்றதெல்லாம் கஷ்டம், சிம்பிளா பண்ணலாம் அப்படின்னு. After that, this was also simplified. So, because everything we calculate in terms of, extra labor and extra money, So, we are very rapidly losing the skill. That is what I'm trying to tell with these 3 pictures. And our Prime Minister has given a mandate that if we don't skill the nation, we will kill the nation. So this is a very important message in the middle of this presentation, which I want all of you to remember, to carry in your mind. We should skill ourselves, and we should try to do capacity building and skill building for the construction industry as well. If we don't do that, we will have a lot of challenges. Somebody is raising a hand. Should we take the questions now or later?
So we'll take it on the Q&A, sir. I've told them to post the question already.
Okay.
You can continue, sir.
Okay. Any people are raising hand? Okay.
Yes, sir. We'll talk to them on the question and answer session, sir. No problem.
Okay. All right.
Let them ask.
All right. So the issues now. So the first half of the session, I wanted to give a background and talk about the issues. And the second half, I wanted to talk about the potential that we have. Of course, we all know that we are in a very problematic place. So let us see what we can do. So now we have a lot of cities, settlements, precincts, monuments. If you take on a larger scale, okay. So here we can do urban conservation, where I think you have the electives and all we can do. In European countries, in UK, they have moved away from conservation. They have moved to the next concept called regeneration. What they are trying to do is they are trying to revive, to regenerate the heritage, the culture and all those things. They're trying to add value, to build on top of it, Whereas in our case, we are struggling to at least keep what we have. We need to justify, and we need to take care that the market pressure does not damage the heritage, We are in that stage, but they have crossed that stage. For them, heritage is important. They want to see how they can build more economy and more value onto that. So that is called urban regeneration. That is the course I studied in UK. So we can definitely pass on that benefit and pass on that knowledge to India also, and we can try to see how we can regenerate our culture, because we have a lot of places like that. So if you see, the government of India is also very keen. So we had the Hriday scheme few years back. It's now completed in the sense that the project duration is over, but they have come up with another scheme called the Prasad, Pilgrimage Rejuvenation and Spirituality Augmentation Drive. And even in the smart city, they have norms for transformation of even historic cities. Tanjore has been selected for smart city, and a few heritage cities are coming under smart city like Jaipur and all, and they are giving a lot of emphasis for heritage related transformations and transitions. So I am highlighting these things because as students, when you want to select topics on thesis, on dissertation, or even if you want to do higher studies and all, you can sort of look at these areas. These are the potential areas for you to practice. And the below, I have given all these National Culture Fund, Incredible India, the Tourism Museums of India. All these departments are all connected with heritage and culture. And the others, those were all for cities and towns and precincts. When you come to individual buildings, there are 3 different verticals, important verticals by which we practice. One is preservation. You just keep the building as it is. Restore, renovate, that's it. Don't do anything else. So this is applicable for major monuments, the classified monuments, and the temples and all. The second one is intervention. So the second image here, So you see, it's a Jameen bungalow, and the left and right, we have made new additions to that, but in the same style.
Okay.
And the third vertical is new constructions. So a lot of times people think that heritage conservation means you only deal with old buildings. That is not the case. You need to be able to handle new constructions in such a way that there is a continuity between the old and the new. So that is how we sort of did this new construction within the Lawrence School campus, where this building is existing. The first building, this new building was done in a heritage campus. So we did not copy the old, but we just tried to give some connection between the old and new, that's all. And the other potential area is that, see, if you see a building like this, nobody will like to buy it, nobody will like to use it, because they already feel that building is gone, it's not valuable. But then, that was the house where Bharadiyar lived when he was in Pondicherry. So we restored it and made it into a museum. And now you see, so many people are visiting that museum every day. So a non-performing building asset has been converted into a high-performing asset. Now you take this building. This was an abandoned building. It was only used by miscreants and for hideouts and for all nuisances. But then a hotelier bought it, purchased it, he nicely restored it. This is in Tranquebar. And now you look at this. And today, if you have to go and stay there, per night it is 8,000 rupees plus 18% tax. So it is, you see the difference. So the potential is there, but we just need to tap it. And these kind of underperforming assets can be converted into high performing assets. And you see this government building, this is in Chennai. It's a beautiful colonial building facing the Marina Beach, but very badly done, the interiors and all. So we showed what is the potential inside. This is the potential inside. So it can really be a very grand place, for somebody to come. They'll be very impressed,
Yes.
And not only these kind of colonial buildings and Tamil buildings, but you see this mill in Coimbatore, it's been done, Chroma. I think it's now a very popular hangout space also. The Lakshmi Mills has been very nicely converted into a digital mall and all. And the right side, it's a warehouse in Bangalore, which has been taken by Samsung. So even these kind of dilapidated structures can get a new life, The other potential area for students and for researchers is this: how to bring in technology for mapping the heritage buildings. See, because eventually we cannot save every heritage building. There will be loss, some will be gone. At least we can document and keep them. We can do research and documentation, so later on we can recall and we can understand. So these are all new techniques like photogrammetry, 3D laser scanning, BIM, smoke detecting BIM, and all those things are there. It's very advanced techniques. So as students, if any of you can become expert in this, you will be very much in demand in future, because worldwide these skills are being sought after. And if you see the scanning below, each sculpture has a close range scan, and it will be mapped to a QR code in your mobile phone. So when you go, you just look at that statue and you do a scanning, it will automatically give all the details about that sculpture. So these kind of digital documentation and all is being done now. Once you do those kind of research and documentation, then we need to disseminate through these kind of books. So content writing, journalism, book publication, this is a very potential area in heritage and conservation. skill training and capacity building is also a very important avenue, because we can do a lot of drawings in paper. Ultimately, we need to get it done with artisan and craftsmen only.
Yes.
Unfortunately, today we have lost that that community organization, because in those days each one was a community. You know, the carpenters had their own community, like Vishwakarma, Tachan, Asari and all. The plasterers had a community. Those who worked with terracotta and pottery, they had a community and all. Now that thing has been collapsed. That social order has been like sort of collapsed. That is for good and that is for bad. Both are there. But then today, unfortunately, we call them laborers, like daily wage laborers, coolie. Do we call them artisan or craftsmen? Do we call them artists? Do we treat them like that? We don't. We are architects, we like this, but them we treat like daily wage laborers only. No. So how will he turn out extraordinary buildings? He will not, because he will only work for money. When people work for money, you cannot expect high quality outputs. It will only be measured quality. For this much money, he will turn out this much quality. That's all. So these are all the difficult areas. Now we need to do the skill training for these artisan craftsmen, pay them well, give them the dignity. They should be proud about what they are doing. You know, like a BArch or MArch or a doctorate. If he is a craftsman, he should be like a grade 1 craftsman, grade 2 craftsman, champion craftsman. Like that, they should also have their grades and skills. And if he is a champion craftsman, he should be paid very well. He should have a dignity, he should have a self-esteem, and he should turn out very good buildings, you know. So then only the designer and the execution, the artisan, that relationship will be good, and we can come up with a good teamwork and we can turn out good buildings.
Yes.
So we are coming to the end of the slide. So once you engage with heritage conservation, you study, you qualify, you practice and all, then there are a lot of avenues with the central government, with the state government, with NGOs, with the international organization like ICOMOS, which is International Committee on Monuments and Sites, ICROM, the World Heritage, World Monuments Fund. SciArc is a very good website which I think young students like you can explore, because they have a digital documentation wing and they really do very good digital documentation visualization. So these are all the various avenues. I've just put in a few examples, but there are many, many organizations with which you can collaborate. And finally, we should have a network for heritage which will support one another. The heritage properties, the heritage crafts, heritage education should be there. Culture and fine art should be tied up. Events and exhibitions should be happening in heritage properties. Awards and recognition should be given for those who engage with research and documentation. Skill training should be given for artisan craftsmen. Even the railways, Indian railways is very historic in itself, and they are also tied up with a lot of heritage circuits and sites. So all these things can be tied up very well. So culture for us is a capital asset, you know, so we should not erode it. We should build on top of that. So that is my message for you. And that's the end of the presentation. Thank you.
So really, it's really inspiring. Opening the mind of not for we know how things are, but for the youngsters, you know, those millennials who are out there, this message should have been a very important part of what they need to look at in their future. So, so let's go into the question and answer session. Let's talk to them and ask them if they have questions.
Sure.
So, attendees, I would like you to type your questions on the question and answer segment, which is below in all of our screens. So, whatever you want to ask, sir, you can ask, sir. And Unnamalai, sir, I think you had raised your hand. You can start with a question, maybe. So you can type up your questions in the question and answer segment, which is there below us. So we can ask the questions to sir and we can get some answers from him.
Somebody is... What is the name of the book and author?
Yeah, that is one question which I think he's one of the student from I think Sasi only. So he's asked one question, sir.
Okay, what? When did I mention about the book?
Sir, I think it was there on the previous slides, the very first and second slide.
Oh, the classified monuments.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, that is available. I will send you the PDF itself. It's a PDF document released by the Niti Aayog portal.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
This is for heritage management for India. It's a handbook kind of that I will share. Okay,
sir. Okay.
What
okay,
else?
sir.
Somebody
So
raised the hand.
Yeah, which country do you think has done the best job in architectural conservation? That's a question from Sneha.
Oh, okay. Italy is supposed to be very good.
Okay.
French scholars book, that is Dravidian architecture. That's called Dravidian architecture by Joao Dubreuil. Just a minute. Let me see.
Yes. So I think the book's name itself is Dravidian architecture.
Yeah.
Others, if you have questions, please do type so sir can answer. We have like 10-15 minutes of good time for question and answer session. If there are any students who are into architectural conservation and things like that, your electives, so maybe if you want to ask some questions, you can ask.
Okay, I think it's at home. That's called Dravidian. I'll just try it. I will type here. Okay.
There's another question, sir. While we need to construct buildings that reflect our heritage, we also need to update our architecture meeting the current phase 2. How to find the balance? Anonymous attendee, this person, he attends every webinar and he asks some very good questions. We are trying to find out who that is. We will get to him.
We also need to update our architecture and how to. Yes. It's a very good question. We do need to create good buildings also. See, I give this example for this kind of this discussion. Pablo Picasso is known as a very good modern artist. We all know him as a very good modern artist. But in his early years, he was his realistic paintings were very good. He did, his realistic paintings were so good, but Picasso moved out from that because he wanted to explore more new forms. But that basis, because he learned the art so well, the realistic art and the fundamentals of the art so well, he could shine as a modern artist very well. So what I am telling is, if we have a good understanding of our roots, of our ancient techniques, of our culture and all those things, you will be able to produce very good modern architecture because you are very well informed. You see? Correct, so you will be more balanced and you will be able to come up with very good solutions. That's what I'm very inspiring.
Early architectural structures in depleted condition and in urge to be conserved, what steps we should take and to whom we should report to start our conservation measures? Good question, that is.
Okay, so basically there are some organizations. See, the government, if you want to take the government route, you have to find the right government channel like PWD and state PWD, central PWD. State archaeology, central archaeology, like that. Our government has a lot of departments to take care of these things, and in these departments also there are designated officers. Mostly they'll be engineers, not much of architects. Okay. So that way you can get in touch with the government departments. If you are dealing with private buildings, you can get the help of NGOs like Intac, Reach Foundation in Chennai. So there are a few other consulting bodies. All these are available in net, in the internet.
Okay, sir.
So in India, everything goes in a commercial way, then political will, and then the system of so-called architects, BR without having skills. So it is very difficult to get rid of this. Yes, friends, India is like that. India is a very big, sort of a mix of all, all things. When I was in Oxford, there we used to have debate floors. Okay, so debate floors means after class is over, we used to have debate floors, and some of the Western students, they asked me, look, Kamal, in India is becoming very violent. We get to see a lot of violent news in India and all those things. So I told them, see, friends, India is a big country with 130 crores, 1.3 billion population.
Yeah.
2,500-year-old culture, 1,000 years ruled by different people. 5 major religions. Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Christianity, Islam. Several states, several languages. In spite of that, we are all happy. It is just that the media picks out the most sensational news so that you can ask me this question. Okay. So of the 130 crore, some few lakhs of people will be engaging like this, and all the 129 crores of people are very peacefully, happily living. They are trying to do what they can. They have their own families. They are concerned with that. They are raising their kids. They are taking care of their elders, their children. They are doing their duty like a clerical job or a mason job or a white collar job or whatever they are. So what I am trying to tell is, just don't get demotivated with some negative bits of information coming here and there. You just focus on what you can do. Let us focus on what we can do. Little bit we can do, all right. So you try to connect with the right people, with like-minded people, with like-minded organizations. Try to do what you can. Slowly things will open up, things will open up. So how do you think we can bring back skilled artisans
to heritage back? Good question, that is. Thanks,
Vijay. That's a very big challenge we are working. See, today everything is linked to economy, all right. So once they can be assured that they will be taken care of well, not only money, they should be given certain dignity of labor also. We should, as I told, we should not treat them like a daily wage labor. It is in our hands also. We should give them like good technical specifications. We should explain to them why he should do this. We should also learn from him. So it is a mutual process. Then in that case, they will slowly come out of their shell, and they will start liking their profession once again, and they will take pride, and they will also understand that they will have more opportunities. So we should create more opportunities and more recognition for them. I think then we can bring back.
Okay, sir.
Is there any website or handbook to get basic idea about heritage principles? Yeah, these things. I will do one thing. I will send the links for all these things. Hello, sir. May I know some common problems which occur in the reef of that? This is all separate topic on its own. But for this anonymous attendee, I can give you 2 major problems that we face. One is the rising damp. Since it's a technical question, I'll say one is the rising damp, the dampness coming from the ground. The other one is the roof leakage.
Yes.
These 2, and the third one also, the vegetation. So these 3 things are major problems.
Anonymous attendee, thank you for asking very good questions. You've been hacking our systems totally for all the webinars. Anyways, it's good. Your questions are good. We should know who you are anyway. Sir, from architect Kyle Willie, if we choose architecture conservation as a thesis topic instead of guidance and appreciation, we receive more of consequences. Is there any websites or handbooks? Okay, that's one you told you will share. Okay, Kailvili, you can contact the number which is there on the webinar poster. So you can get into contact with Kamalhassan sir on that also. You can have a contact with sir. I have seen some ancient structures completely in pathetic condition, and how can we preserve it without erasing its original identity? Okay. Involved in the part of ensure it's preserved and restored properly. Landscape architect Kumareshwari Rajendran. Thank you, ma'am, for your question. So I think you can take that question as the last question.
Okay, since mentioned completely in women, how can institute who is the authority for it, and how can we? Okay, these completely in pathetic situation can be put back to original condition. Only thing is, it will be more expensive. That's all. See, we have created very dilapidated buildings and all. We have restored.
Yeah.
Even if the roof has collapsed, the walls have collapsed. Only the foundation remained, and that also we have restored. That is possible. Only thing is, it will be very expensive. It will take more time and all those things. Just like a patient, like a healthy patient, you can easily fix the problem. Somebody is very sick, you have to start from the beginning, a lot of rehabilitation and all those things. That is all, but it's possible.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Somebody asked about doing masters. So
yes. Vikram Kumar.
I have a keen interest in pursuing my masters in history of architecture. So I wanted to know how we can integrate the modern with the traditional architecture, keeping in mind the concepts. What is this? Very good. Please do masters in history of architecture. Where I don't know where this boy wants to do, in India or in abroad. So you please, it's a good. I always suggest after BR, I usually suggest that you work for 2 years, you find your interest area, and then you go for your masters.
Good, sir. Thank you. So Vikram Kumar, I'm an architecture student, and what are the ways we can do thesis in conservation, like documentation on forts and things? So he wants to do a thesis.
Yeah, there are a lot of. You look at the Louis Kahn Trophy title topics and all, and definitely you can do. I did my thesis on Senji Fort only. So my master's thesis was on temple architecture, temple stuff. So we can you can explore if you want. You throw a few topics, and I can guide you. All right?
Okay, sir. Good.
No.
Okay, so I think it's sharp 5 o'clock, and we can end this session. And ma'am is there. Gayatri ma'am is there online.
Hi, sir.
Hello.
This is Gayatri. அப்ப உங்ககிட்ட தமிழ்லயே பேசலாம் தானே, இங்கிலீஷ்ல பேச வேண்டாம்.
தாராளமா பேசலாம்.
Sir, thank you very much.
Okay.
நீங்க ஒரு விஷயம் சொன்னீங்க, கம்யூனிகேஷன் இன் தமிழ். எனக்கு அது ரொம்ப பிடிச்சிருந்தது. Because even I go with that. I mean, generally we need to speak in English, but I tell English தெரியலன்னு யாராவது சொன்னா I tell that's just a language for communication. நீங்க சொல்றது புரிஞ்சா போறோம். The next person needs to understand. அவ்வளவுதான். But the presentation was really good.
Good. Okay, சரி.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. இப்போ இந்த இவங்க எல்லாம் மோஸ்ட்லி என்ன மாதிரி பேக்ரவுண்ட் எனக்கு தெரியல. நான்
ஆர்க்கிடெக்ட். இது வந்து நிறைய எங்க ஸ்டூடண்ட்ஸ் இருக்காங்க, நிறைய பிராக்டிசிங் ஆர்க்கிடெக்ட்ஸ் இருக்காங்க. and வெளியில இருந்தும் நிறைய ஸ்டூடண்ட்ஸ் இருக்காங்க.
மோஸ்ட்லி ஆர்க்கிடெக்சர் ஸ்டூடண்ட்ஸ் தான் இல்லையா?
Yes, it is mostly இல்ல சார், எல்லா ஆர்க்கிடெக்ட்ஸ் and ஆர்க்கிடெக்சர் ஸ்டூடண்ட்ஸ் தான்.
சரி.
ஆமா.
Very nice.
Thank you very much, sir. I guess we are meeting through webinar, so in future also we should continue this. And thanks to Indrani, she was the one who recommended to have you. So this is such a good presentation today. And you were saying we called architect Patrick, but actually Pata architect Patrick apro next unga in the session ku da higher number of participants we have got.
Yes, right.
Yes. So that is really good for us also. Thank you very much, sir.
Sandasham. Good. Thank you, Rupesh. Thank you, Arun.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Gayatri. Bye.
Bye, sir. Bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay. Bye.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you, Arun. Bye, Rupesh. See you later.
Yeah. Thank you all attendees for attending this session.